bet you've watched Bluey episodes and tried at least once to spot a hidden long dog in the animation. But have you ever watched a whole episode and never spotted Bluey's biggest Easter egg even once? That's because some of them are really placed in almost impossible to find spots, especially if the scene is at night. Like in the episode Bin Night from the second season, when Bandit and the girls are taking out the trash, the friendly neighbor of the healers, Mrs. Doreen, quickly chats with them. And it's precisely at that moment that the long dog Easter egg appears, just behind the bush, next to Mrs. Doreen. The funny thing is, the next night we see the neighbor and the same bush again, but the long dog isn't there anymore. Probably moved to the next hiding spot in another episode.
Mr. Crow will definitely be coming tomorrow.
I'll be ready!
Which surely will be on our list of 18 more long dog appearances that practically nobody noticed. Now, if I were to pick the episode where I found it most difficult to locate this Easter egg, I'd definitely put Granny's in first place. It appears right after the girls manage to call Grandma Nana. If you look closely and have a magnifying glass, you'll see that on Grandma's fridge door, there's a photo of Bingo, and next to it, there's a white paper with some things on it, and one of them is exactly the long dog. Believe it or not, this was the hardest one to find to date.
Oh, hello?
As we talked about in the other video about the hardest to find long dogs, sometimes we have the Easter egg as a small toy or figurine. In some cases, it will just be a drawing made by the girls themselves or someone from the healer family. That's exactly what happens in the episode Escape, where it's drawn inside an asteroid near the moon, where the girls' rocket ends up landing. It appears very quickly, so it's quite hard to see. You have to pause the episode at the right moment. In the Quiet Game episode, we can see it once again among the toys inside the store. When Bandit is trying to understand the mime and figure out which moon Unicorn Muffin still doesn't have, if you look behind, in the toy display case in the background, right next to Bandit's hand, there will be our dear long dog once again. We can see it better when Alfie enters the scene, in the same place. Do you remember Winnie, that friend Bluey makes when she goes to the park to play with her dad? And Bandit and Fido, Winnie's dad, become friends. But before that, if you look closely, you'll notice that under the bench where Bandit is sitting, there's a small long dog. And unlike the Easter egg that appears in the Bin Night episode, the first on our list, the next day it's there once again, showing that not all long dogs are runners. Another time we can find the Easter egg very quickly and well hidden, it happened in the episode Daddy Robot. When Robot Bandit picks up Bingo and says he's going to put her in the wash and puts the girl in the laundry basket, we can see that behind him there's a small mountain of dirty clothes. And among Bandit's underwear is exactly a small long dog that will surely be put into the washing machine later too. And since our video today once again is about Bluey's biggest Easter egg, let's comment #long, just like the little dog that always appears in the show episodes. There are some long dogs that are made to never be found. A perfect example of an Easter egg that's almost at that level is the one that appears at the very end of the space episode. The one where Mackenzie remembers his childhood and when he believed his mother had abandoned him in the playground. When he goes through the black hole, he's attacked by the aliens Chloe, Indy, and Bluey. And at that moment, near one of the bushes, we have an almost invisible long dog that was placed to never be found. What gave it away were the purple petals that clearly look like two wings on its back. They just didn't count on our sharp eyes. Another time the long dog was completely camouflaged was during the guessing game The Four Granddaughters Play with Grandma Nana, which happens in the Charades episode. Next to the couch, along with the crochet needles and the balls of yarn, we can see a very stylish long dog, who's even wearing a little hat, probably also made of crochet. But did Grandma Nana make the hat? In the chess episode, where Bandit tries to teach the girls how to play chess, the Easter egg was almost always in plain sight for those who watched the episode, but few people noticed it. After all, if it wasn't like that, it wouldn't be an Easter egg, right? It can be seen in the frame hanging on the wall behind the girls, represented as if it were one of the three birds seen on the horizon at sunset. This one is probably the most philosophical long dog of all. But I have to admit, even though it was in plain sight, I didn't see it the first time I watched the episode. In the second season, in the piggyback episode, the healers are walking and Bingo tries in every way to get Bandit to carry her on his back out of sheer laziness. So the whole episode is in motion, which makes spotting the Easter egg even harder. Therefore, in this case, it's necessary to pause the scene at the right moment to see the long dog. We can see it hidden under a bench, once again, by the lake, where a couple is calmly conversing. Truly, long dogs never take vacations. But despite sometimes having only one long dog per episode, sometimes there are two or more, and they sometimes appear in scenes and moments very close to each other. That's exactly what happens in the Tickle Crabs episode when Bandit finally thinks he's managed to get rid of the two crabs, who are Bluey and Bingo. And we see the two running around the backyard, and guess who's there? Right behind the bush, completely camouflaged, our dear long dog. And right after, when the imaginary sea wave ends up bringing the two girls back to the beach so they can tickle their dad some more, and he's caught off guard, we can see the second Easter egg of the episode. It's back there, on the shelf, also camouflaged and almost imperceptible. I searched the whole episode and it appeared practically at the end and in a double dose. And if you enjoy Bluey and other cartoons, subscribe to the channel right now so you can watch our next videos. The long dogs literally can be anywhere. Sometimes it makes you think of looking for them in places where it would be unimaginable for there to be an Easter egg. That's how I managed to find the Easter egg in the housework episode, after almost giving up. When the vacuum cleaner is shown, which is simply full of dirt, guess who's there once again? Itself, the omnipresent long dog. No matter if it's dirty, you can be sure the Easter egg could be there. I had already given up and stopped trying to find the Easter egg in the Flat Pack episode, but I decided to give myself a second chance and finally found the long dog. And it appears right at the very end of the cartoon story, there below next to the castle the girls built with the boxes and foam coolers they managed to gather. The long dog even has a square shape to be even more camouflaged and also match everything that was used in the girls' construction. I have to admit that this one was quite creative. The octopus episode was definitely one of the ones I had the most difficulty finding the long dog, and I only noticed its hiding place the second time I watched it. Most of the episode takes place at Chloe's house, so it was more than expected that it would be there somewhere. And if you look closely, in the quick scene where we see Chloe's house aquarium among the fish and rocks, guess who's there? The underwater long dog. Now, going to the seesaw episode, where we see Bandit playing with the kids to help encourage little Pom-Pom to join in on the fun. When the scene is enlarged, we can see that the Easter egg is once again hidden in the park, right under a bench, almost unnoticed. The worst part is that it's the same color as the sand, which makes it even harder to notice. Remember, we said that sometimes a magnifying glass is necessary to find the long dog in some episodes, like when we saw it in Grandma Nana's fridge. Well, to find the Easter egg in the Unicorse episode, an even more powerful magnifying glass is needed. That's because it's hidden, to our surprise, inside the storybook that Chili reads to Bluey. It appears exactly at the moment of the story when the queen finds the solution for her kingdom. Right next to one of the trees, right at the base, it's there. Remember to pause and zoom in to see this Easter egg that was certainly difficult to find. When Bluey finally decides to watch the Dreamy Monkey movie, we see many things in the cinema, like popcorn, other dogs, and children, but we don't find any Easter egg. We can only find the long dog when Bluey goes down to try to help Bandit capture Bingo. It's right there in the corner of the cinema with some white details on its body, as if it were those backstage props that work making movies. I have to confess that finding all these long dogs was quite tiring, although it was a lot of fun. And since I know you enjoyed it too, we want to spend more time with you. So there are 2 videos popping up for you right now, and you can choose one of them and we'll keep enjoying another great video. Thanks.